Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Shabbat Shalom, Happy New Year. This is our second show back, but our first show together, Doobie and I. Doobs, thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Always, the Doobie and Christie show. It's what we do.
Exactly.
But for everybody out there, I hope that you had a great holiday for vacation time. For me, I had a really great December. My dad and bonus mom came out, and I haven't seen them in 4 years. So it was really awesome to get to see them. My daughter was just elated to get to be with her grandparents. It was the best time ever. So very sad to say goodbye to them, but it was a wonderful time. But that being said, we're back in full force this year. And I know that a lot of us can lose steam over holiday times, but something that I just have been thinking of nonstop that I want to keep reminding everybody about is that Israel is still in a time of peril. Doobie's feeling that so intensely. I know that a lot of you, he's family to me. This man, it's family. There's no difference to me between him and the family that I have. It's the same to me. And I know that his business has struggled so much. So many of his friends are going through the same thing. The economy's taken a hit, obviously, with all of these things going on. But Doobs, why don't you just talk to us a little bit about what it's like in Israel right now, what things are feeling like, anything else that you're wanting to give people an update about that might not be in the news?
Well, first of all, the first thing that is not in the news is that when you say Doobie is like family to me, they should know that me and Doug, your dad, shared the same birthday.
Exact same birthday. My dad and Doobie share the same birthday.
So it's so funny. But anyways, I just to lighten up a little bit, because, we're still in a very dire strait in Israel. The situation is just not going anywhere for the better. You just mentioned about, my business, the tourism industry. That's in a just standstill.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go to a war zone, and for obvious reasons. I've been trying to reinvent myself a little bit. I took a tour to Morocco, which is a country that I know very well, and have some other people interested. So it's okay, to try and reinvent yourself, financially in a way. But my heart is back in Israel. My brother is in the military service since October 7th, and 2 nephews and multiple friends and families and people we know just died in this war.
Yeah.
And the situation is not easy, and it's not going for the best, because we feel a lot of pressure internationally.
Yes.
Israel is literally with the hands tied around our back, as now the Hague and South Africa, and people are suing us for genocide, and people just seems to forget what really happened in this war, how we were brutally attacked, and women were raped and killed and slaughtered, and people on October 7th. And since then, the Hamas and the Hezbollah have been launching rockets and drones and terror attacks and anti-tank missiles, and Israel is at war. I mean, the Houthis back from Yemen, from Syria, the proxies of Iran. It's not going anything for the better. And then we have an American administration that puts, on one hand, they support us, in the international arena politically. They send reinforcements and weapons and ammunition. Obviously, we buy it. It's nothing for free,
Yes,
no free lunch. But it's a great support. You can tell that. But then, on the other hand, they want to conduct the war, and they are literally micromanaging this war. I mean, as we speak right now, at this very moment that we're recording, the American foreign minister, or as you call him, the Secretary of State, Blinken is in Israel literally right now, getting in and out of the offices of the high-ranked, politicians of Israel. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, the Minister of Defense, Gallant. He meets with the Chief of Staff. They're literally kind of micromanaging Israel. How much power, how much force, how much pressure we're going to put and impose on Hamas. They want us to open the borders so we can give them all kinds of different aids and supplies. And we know for sure that this goes to the Hamas people. They still hold 136 hostages from Israel, kidnapped in very tough situations. Still, the Red Cross wasn't even able to visit these people just to see if they're alive or dead, or what's their health conditions are. This huge international corps that everybody's supporting around the world, they live off the taxpayers from America, from the rest of the world. They're not able even to go and visit our hostages. I'm telling you, the situation in Israel is very tough. And yet, instead of having a strong, determined ally that will show resistance and resilience to the enemies of Israel, to Iran and its proxies, all they do is they try to convince the Arab world that Israel will stop the fire and cease the fire if they're not going to come against us and not going to attack us. And they kind of trying to return us to the 6th of October, which is impossible. There's so many people died. The people of Israel are determined to fight this war till the end, until there'll be no enemies of Israel on the borders between Israel and our enemies, between Gaza and Israel, between Lebanon and Israel, Syria and Israel. All I can think about is, oh my God, if Kim was alive right now, he would be there again, together with us, together with you, Christie, standing on the borders of Israel, praying, declaring, decreeing peace over Israel, defeat to the enemies of Israel. And all we get now is more and more pressure from people that's supposed to be our allies. And this is impossible because the people of Israel are looking at the situation right now and are very confused. They don't know what to do. I mean, we were raised to understand that America is the strongest superpower in this world, and they can defeat all the forces of evil, and they can't even deal with a bunch of militias in Iran, in Yemen, in Syria that are attacking American bases, military bases in this region. So I don't know why they're holding their horses. I don't understand their politics, but we are paying with our precious blood. We're paying with the lives of our people. That there's 150,000 Israeli civilians that are refugees in our own country. They were running away from their homes, so they're not going to be attacked by the invaders and the intruders of the enemies of Israel, which are launching rockets and anti-tank missiles constantly on a daily basis. And they don't want to go back to their homes because they're afraid that there'll be no security over there. So instead of getting the strength and the power of our allies, suffering from this impotentials, I can say.
Doobs, what you're saying is so true. Like, it's been quite shocking to see the stance, and just to see I know we've spoken about it so much, but just to see the rise in anti-Semitism. And, I'm living in Los Angeles and everything's really liberal here, but just seeing these different communities deciding that Israel is the enemy, deciding that they stand with Palestine, not knowing what they're talking about. It's been really, really shocking to me to see. And we're sitting here and I'm like, we know that God stands with Israel. We know that. We know that Israel is the apple of God's eye. We know that the Jews are God's chosen people. But just watching the other children of God, I come from South Africa. My heritage is Lebanese. My grandmother was born in Lebanon. She was one of 19 children, and she was in a tiny village called Bashari, which is where the cedars of Lebanon came from. It's that area of Lebanon is where the cedars of Lebanon come from that were built in Solomon, used in the building of Solomon's temple. And I, as a Lebanese South African, two of these nations that would be seen as standing in opposition to Israel, it's the passion of my heart. It's the thing that I care about the most in this world. And, my family, my grandmother, they escaped Islamic persecution. They were part of a little sect of Coptic Christians that were there, and they had to flee when my gran was a small child, and they fled to South Africa to escape Islamic persecution. And it's the same persecution that's driving these forces in Israel. That's the same spirit that's causing this anti-Semitism to rise. And the fact that so many people have their eyes closed is horrifying. But at the same time, I know what God is able to do with the people who do stand with Israel. You, our watchers, our viewers, our supporters. We're the remnant of God. We're the people that stand strong. We're the people that stand united no matter what. And, I've told you guys this already, like even when everything first started happening in October, a couple of my friends were afraid to go out with me because I've got Star of David tattoo. I've got Yizkor in Hebrew on this arm. Over here, I've got the coordinates of the Kotel, the Wailing Wall. Over here, I've got the Shema Yisrael prayer, Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. A lot of people look at me and think that I'm Jewish because I'm, tattooed up and got all these Jewish symbols and
symbols.
Me. Yeah. And I say, no, actually I'm Lebanese. And I love it when I get to encounter Jewish people out here because they go, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's such a passion for me, but I have to keep my head up. Doobie, we've spoken about this. We keep our heads up. We stand strong on who God is. And the fact of the matter is there were other superpowers. There were other superpowers in ancient times that looked like they were absolutely indestructible. And Israel is still standing. Where are the Edomites? Where are the Assyrians? Where are the Amalekites? Where are the Girgashites? Where are the Hivites? Where are the Jebusites? Where are they? They're not here anymore. And so we know that God is standing with Israel. We know that God is their defender. We know this. The God who watches over Israel does not slumber or sleep. And so now is a time for us to be people that stand with in prayer. We stand and we support and we do not waver. It doesn't matter what the people around us are saying. We do not waver.
Christie, that right now, I'm currently in London right now because
Yes.
My son's restaurant encountered some anti-Semitic
Yes.
attacks, and they just graffitied his shop, and they are constantly on a daily basis here in London parades and protests. Literally, I heard the other day that the British government the British police are thinking to find ways to go against the organizers of the protest. So they're going to pay for the police work to keep the order because they are storming and swarming down the streets and the roads and they're blocking everything. But I think it's also a matter of too much liberalism. But on the other hand, this anti-Semitism is a matter of education as well. I visited today within Bali. It was the Victoria and Albert Museum. And in Bali and I are walking into this silver exhibition over there. On one of the walls, and I'll send it to you later on so you can show it to our people while you edit this. On one of the top walls, right there near the ceiling, it's written like as there's multiple names of towns and cities and countries around the world, and it says Jerusalem, Palestine, 700 BC. You know what? They would say after 48 when it was called Palestine by the British man that 700 BC, Jerusalem, Palestine. 700 BC, Jerusalem was the end of the dynasty of King David and the Judea king at the times of Hezekiah, the king of Israel.
Yes,
you understand?
Yes,
there was the Israelites. There were no Palestinians. The Philistines were already defeated long ago by King David and his son Solomon later on. So, I mean, King David, during the times of Solomon, there were no wars. There was only peace. 700 BC. These are the lies that they're educating in a British museum. They're educating the people. So what do you expect from the locals to think if somebody here in a museum tells you that Palestine, it was called Palestine, 700 BC?
And you're right, Dubes. I've watched so many things out here, even just watching them going to university campuses and asking what was the Holocaust. Most of them didn't know. Most of the students didn't know what that was. And I've got some really young friends out here in LA, and I've obviously told them a lot because I it's a passion of mine. I literally have the Auschwitz album right here behind me. I've got Holocaust books all here. I've got all these different books up above me that are, all to do with the Holocaust. How much I read. I've read all of these things. And the fact that this is the state of the education system is absolutely shocking, which is why it's so important that we continue doing what we're doing, why Doobie's able to do what he's doing. In Israel, you don't just become a tour guide. This guy had to study like crazy. It's 4 years of studying just to become a tour guide. That you've got to know the history backwards, and he does. But all of that being said, we have voices. Even if we don't have anything else, we have our voices, and we can speak and we can stand and we can tell people around us exactly what it is that's going on. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. Talk to your friends and family, talk to the people, and let them understand what this war is actually about and what's actually happening. And we're not going to give up. We're not going to stop praying, hoping, standing. That's what we do. And so as you continue with your week, let me encourage you, do not stop praying for the peace of Jerusalem. Don't stop praying. Don't stop standing. We are those. We are that remnant. We do have voices, and that's what we're going to use. So, Doobs, thank you so much. And everybody out there, we'll be back next week. As always, every Friday, you'll find us here at israelupdate.org. And we love you. We're grateful for you. God bless you. Have a beautiful week.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
There's a world of difference between walking in the light while confessing our sins and letting our sins define our identity. While it's appropriate to mourn our sin, it's not appropriate to hate ourselves.
Either you can hate the fact that you have a tendency towards depression and anxiety, and that might be biological, it might be neurological, I'm not sure, but God can use that, and He can take the parts of me that might seem difficult and use it for something that's good.
And God can use you no matter what personality type you are. It is all God purposed, God used, God ordained. For I know the plans I have for you, not based on personality, but just for you, who you are. And so that is not circumstantial of what you've been through, because everything is God used.
My Towels solved a problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
mypillow.com.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.